before good. What's that?
People are popping.
Are they? Okay.
Coming in late, leaving early.
Yeah. Okay. You have found the hand mix table. What we've been asked to show you here for slurry is what's the proper technique for adding the individual components. What's the proper way, at least in the laboratory, to take a look and evaluate the material from an aggregate perspective and also from an emulsion perspective. So we've chosen, for the sake of the demonstration, an East Coast aggregate that does require PCC to get cohesions. So there's a little bit of cement that needs to be added instead of the aluminum sulfate for all you West Coast folks out here that are used to that. The emulsion is a cationic quickset. It's a 60% residue, no latex. So it's about as run-of-the-mill as we can make with our own chemistry here. And Teresa's going to go through not only the proper way to mix it up, but also, more importantly, the proper way to actually get it uniform and make sure that we're not overworking the mix in the lab.
I have a sample of aggregate here. This has +4 material in it. Normally, for my hand mixes in my lab, I take the +4 material out. But I had 300 of them to split, so you got what you got. I make sure when I get my sample, I dry them down, make sure there's no moisture in the aggregate whatsoever. I want to be the one to control the moisture. I want to make sure it's uniform. I want to make sure everything is nice and precise. Again, like you said, I've got 60% AC content emulsion, CQS, and it's a 6422. That I use routinely in my lab. For this demonstration, the work I've done in my lab, I know that I need 0.6% PCC, 6.75% water, but the water's different, so I have to adjust my water given the environmental conditions and the fact that I'm using Aquafina instead of tap water, and 12% emulsion. When I get a new aggregate, new asphalt, I always start knowing my chemistry at roughly 0.5% PCC, 7% water, 12% emulsion. And then I ballpark it off there if I need more next time, if I need less next time, based on what my cohesion values are. I'm looking for 180 seconds of mix time for slurry. So let's see if I can get it this time.
Yeah, we're running into an interesting phenomena. We, from groups that were here before us, warned us not to use the water here from the hotel because it's soft enough water that for these demonstrations you might find yourself mixing for 10 minutes, making a false slurry and all that. So we decided to use Aquafina water, and what we've seen is quite the opposite. The Aquafina water is helping the emulsion break, and it's not keeping anything fluid like it should be. So we're on the fly here trying to figure out how much extra water to add. But we know that the more water we add, we're not getting exactly the more mix time we should.
I added my PCC.
In the Aquafina, two things. It's a reverse osmosis, which means that it's actually got some charge on it. And the charge is either fully dissipated into the plastic or augmented by the plastic, depending on how much jostling and what temperatures it was stored at.
I made these. Sorry.
It wouldn't have nothing to do with pH?
In a water like that, it's all charged.
I made these emulsions about a week ago and then sent them here. It could also be why I'm having a harder time with them. When I sent them out, Texas was under a winter weather advisory. So these emulsions have been traumatized a bit. Generally, I make the emulsion, let it sit for 24 hours, and then test the emulsion. I get better results, more controllable results. It's the best way to do it. 12% emulsion gives me roughly 8% asphalt in the final patty. Start my stopwatch. Let's see if I can get my adjustment. Hopefully I won't make soup. A little better. Still gonna break fast though on me, even though I up my water to about 8.5. What I'm looking for, this one's still workable. It's folding over on itself, but it's gonna break pretty quick. I always tilt my cup on its side so I can see it. You don't want to stir it, whisk it, I guess, think of it in cooking terms. Don't whisk your emulsion, fold it. Roll it over, and I'm looking for it to flip as a continuous unit. Other things I do in the lab is shake it out, draw a line through it, see if it'll heal itself. That's the other advantage, tilting on it on the side. You can see it flow, if it's still flowing. I do a consistency test. I want to make sure it's neither too dry or too wet. On that one, I leave the +4 aggregate in. We might get it 180 seconds. I always scrape it right along the edges so you get all the side bits. What I'm looking for while I do this is how lazy is the break. Sometimes, depending upon the aggregate and my chemical, how it all goes together, it can be lazy, or if it's going to snap when it breaks. This aggregate that I'm using here is a slower one. I've got one that is very fast. That one, I probably have to do about 10% water, 10% Aquafina. We're at 2 minutes, so if it was a micro, we'd want it to be breaking, because it's slurry. Put another minute on it, hopefully. Might have had too much water this time. It's 180 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. Hopefully we can see as it breaks, see the air bubbles. And if on large samples, if you're familiar with the slurry, the micro, you can actually hear it. It sounds like Rice Krispies as it's curing. It's got a little wet. This one will probably mix for 5 minutes.
We'll come back.
Yeah. There's your 180 seconds. Flows. Yeah, it got a little wet. As I spread it out, let it sit, you should be able to see bubbles form and come off. Yeah, you can see it pop as the air is escaping. So, if anybody would like, these already have the PCC added to them. Karen, give you some water, let you mix that, get it incorporated. I'll add some emulsion to it, and you guys can mix if you want. We got gloves.